Hello, everybody. This is Haidar Casseer talking to you. Today, we are taking a lecture about how to improve your IELTS speaking. I want you all to be okay. Uh, Please confirm that if you can see the screen, the sharing screen. Okay, I've just received some confirmation. Okay, now we will start. Okay, how to improve your IELTS speaking. When you answer a speaking question in the IELTS test, answer with the reason. For example, if this question asks you about the weather in your country, you need to mention the weather you like and the weather you dislike with at least one reason. You also mention how the weather makes you feel or what you do in that kind of weather. Or even you may mention the transportation problems. In short, you just need to develop your ideas and expand in your answer. Now, vocabulary. You need to use a range of vocabulary for the topic you are answering. In the IELTS, we have a low band word score and a high band word score. For instance, which means, for example, when we answer a question about the weather, using hot is a low band word score. Using scorching, sweltering, boiling is a high band word score. Now, recommendations. Fluency. The length of your answer, hesitations do not stop. What does that mean? The length of your answer. That means when you develop more ideas about your answer. For example, if someone asks you about something, you need to mention the reason. If there is a reason, you need also to mention to have some explanation about it. You don't say just one or two ten sentences and be silent. Number two, hesitations. That means how many uh, uh, you say. Those are counted. If something we call it with the flow speech, so it's not a regard. Do not stop. That means try not to stop until the examiner starts asking you. Oh, the examiner tells you, thank you. That means stop, please. Number two, vocabulary. Range of words, using the right words. Range of words. That means, as we have mentioned recently, when we said hot, scorching, sweltering, those are the range of words. Using the right words. For example, don't say, I've got a lot of jobs. It's wrong. You may say, I've got a lot of work, which means I've got a lot of tasks. Because I've got a lot of jobs, that means you have more than one job, more than two jobs. Let's say, for example, you are working as a teacher, just like me, as a carpenter, as a painter, as a secretary, as let's say, bus driver or taxi driver at the same time, and that's an impossible case to have more than two jobs. Number three, grammar. Range of tenses, less mistakes. Range of tenses, what does it mean? Range of tenses, that means when you mention one tense when there is a chance for you to do it. For example, when they ask you about the weather, how is the weather in your country? Do not say it's hot in summer and cold in winter. That's a terrible answer if you just answer this one. That means you haven't answered anything. For example, how is the weather in your country? It's hot in summer and cold in winter. For example, last week it was terribly scorching and boiling that I could not even walk in the street. But in 3 months from now, it will be better. I think the weather will be really cool. In this case, if you answer like that, you will get a real perfect mark. Let's say less mistakes. Less mistakes, for example, when you say, for example, she do. This is a flow mistake, but if you repeat it, it will be a mistake. Let's go back to the range of tenses. Whenever you've got a chance, try to answer with two tenses at least. Simple present, simple past. And if you can add the simple future, that would be really perfect. Okay, now let's come to continue now. Pronunciation. Word pronunciation sounds, intonation. Word pronunciation, what does it mean? That does not mean if you speak a British English, American English, or any accent. No, it means the pronunciation of the word itself. For example, how much? This is correct. But if you say how much, no, this is incorrect. Sounds, intonation. For example, my name is Haidar, I live in Baghdad. No, this is what we call flat speaking. That means to speak robotically, just like a commentator or an announcer. You need to play with the sound and to stress on the main word. For example, my name is Haidar, I live in Baghdad. If you see that my stress, which means I said the most important words louder, like my name is Haida, Haida. I live in Baghdad, Baghdad. Okay, now, please, if you have any questions, write them now in the comments and I'm going to answer them. Let's go on to take an example. Part one, what's your name? My name is John Chuck. Where do you come from? Which means, where do you live? I come from Turkey, Istanbul. It's the capital city of Turkey. It's a big city. The population is over 3 million and it's a very exciting city. There are a lot of shops, restaurants, bazaars, and a lot of tourist sites. But since it's the capital city, it's crowded and expensive. What are you doing at present? I'm looking for work. Luckily, there are a lot of vacancies for my profession. Profession that means my field of study or field of experience. Vacancies, we may also say opportunities. I was working as a nurse, but it's a very hard job and I did that for 3 years. Then I stopped to study the master's in degree. And as I told you, I'm looking for employment right now. Now we come to part two. In part two, if you see the questions on the right, in blue, light blue, green, and the questions are in yellow. What they will do is that they will give you a paper containing 3 to 5 questions to give you 2 minutes to think about, and they will tell you may write notes if you like. The notes, you need to write at least 2 or 3 words related to the subject that you are going to talk about. Please do write notes. Then you will answer them as one unit. The answer should have lots of ideas, a lot of ideas, let's say. That does not mean to answer them only. No, to answer and explain a bit about them. You need to mention at least 2 or 3 sentences for each question you answer. You don't have to answer them raw. It depends on the questions. For example, here are the questions. What kind of a music do you like? What kind of a music is popular in your country? Why is the music important to us? When do you like to listen to music? For these questions, you may start with any question you like to answer. You don't have to answer them, as we said, raw. Number one, number two, number three, number four. No, you may start from the second, the third, or the last one here. For example, I'll start my answer. Well, I like classical music and also folk music. Classical music is very relaxing, and folk music is very interesting because it tells us about people's culture or history. I honestly do not listen to music much since I'm busy. I have a full time job and I have to shop and cook, and I like to read in my spare time. Spare time means free time or leisure time also. I usually listen to music at night in my bedroom. The Turks used to listen to Turkish music, but now they really like the Western style music and it's more popular, in fact. A lot of the music that young people in Turkey listen to is in English, though. Now, we move to part three. Part three is usually consisted of questions related to part two. For example, how would you define music? It's a very difficult question, but in my opinion, it's a language without words. Music is the only unique language that can be understood worldwide. Worldwide, you may say around the world. Just imagine that you are listening to a sad Italian music without understanding it. You will get sad. Or you are listening to a happy Spanish music. You will get happy without getting what it is actually saying. So we can say that music is the language of hearts. You don't have to understand it. You should just feel it. What influence do you think music has on life? As you know, the effect of music can be good. It helps us to relax and also to enjoy ourselves when we get together. But on the other hand, some kinds of music encourage drugs use and violence. What part of the music is it playing in your culture? In the past, Turkish music was quite nationalistic. It was used to encourage love for Turkey or something like that. But today, people listen to all types of music as they do like the other countries, such as America or the UK. And in the future, I hope the music in Turkey will improve because I do not think it's very good now. Okay, in short, in short, when you want to answer for the speaking, you need to answer with range of words and also with range of tenses. That is the most important thing. Now, we are going to take another test. For example, in 1 minute, we are going to start this test. It's another example. Part one. Could you tell me your name and candidate number? My name is David Bond, and my candidate number is 2132. Where are you from? Actually, I was born in Mumbai. That is a very big and overpopulated city, but I grew up in New Delhi. What kind of a place is it? Can you describe it for me? New Delhi is a nice city. It's got lovely weather. The people are very friendly and open, and they are also really sociable. It's got a lot of advantages. For example, there are lots of good universities, hospitals, shopping centers, and in fact, it's a facilitated city. Besides, it's a multicultural city, but it has disadvantages too. For instance, stuffs are a bit expensive, and sometimes we witness some major and minor crime in the city. Okay, if you notice here, I used somehow different words. For example, I used facilitated and I also used multicultural. I may say also, multicultural. I used those words in order to increase my points here. my score for this question. And also, I didn't say, for example, I said, for instance, when we answer a question, we try to develop the ideas. I've talked about the good things or the advantages in the city of Mumbai, for example, or New Delhi. Then I mentioned some disadvantages. When you mention some disadvantages, those disadvantages should be not specific for the city that you are talking about. No, it should be something that we could find in any other city. For example, I've talked about the expenses. I've talked about some major and minor crime. That means we could find these disadvantages in any city in the world. What's your main meal of the day? Well, most of the times I have my main meal at midday and at work. It's usually rice with stew. A few years ago, I had no specific time for my lunch, but since last year, I arranged my time to have my lunch between 12 and 1 p.m. I used two tenses here. I might have be light here, I might have light here, but it's okay to lie in the IELTS. In the IELTS speaking test, you don't have to say the truth. You don't have to think of the answer before you answer it. Just say it. For example, how many bedrooms are there in your house? You immediately answer. For example, there are two bedrooms, there are three bedrooms, there are four bedrooms. You don't have to think for some seconds. For example, we I have oh there are okay two bedrooms. No, no, no. There are three bedrooms. No, no, no. That means this point will be against you. Okay. What sort of food are you into? I like different kinds of food, but tandoori chicken is my favorite. How many languages do you speak? I speak Indian, English, and a bit of French. I can speak Indian because it's my native language. Do not say my mother tongue language. It's better to say native because native is the formal word. Mother tongue is the informal word. While English language I studied it in school, and I improved it through having friends from some European countries. I also took some French classes last year. Speaking more than a language is really important since the human communication requires that, and that fields and the fields of science require understanding and speaking at least two common languages. Please focus on the way that we are answering the questions, how we develop the answer, and try to practice that. It's really important to take a high mark, to take a high band score in the answer speaking test. Part two, you should talk about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. You should describe a building or construction that you have seen and impressed you. What was it? Where was it located? When did you visit it? What made you astonished about that building? I myself have seen many constructions, and among them, the one that caught my eyes the most is Eiffel Tower. My family and I went to Paris about 2 years ago, and I got the chance to visit this masterpiece. It's a huge and marvelous structure and was built in a way that really catches your eyes and grabs your mind. I do believe that in the century of technology, we can design unique patterns, but considering the history of the tower, it tends to be something special. Part three. Will you ever go back to this place again? Indeed. I'm really looking forward to visiting this place again. Maybe this time I get more chance and see more. What do you think is the most important element that makes a building a home rather than somewhere to live? I think the emotional elements and belongings are the main factors contributing to making a house or a place into home. Your mother, father, brother, sister, and all that you love are among the most important. As you know, there are many buildings in the town, but just one is your home, where you can relax and enjoy the pace. I believe home is where your heart is. Do you think homeless people are basically responsible for their own situation? I think it's a complicated issue, and we cannot directly put the blame on anybody or any group. There are many factors contributing to this issue. For example, unemployment, inflation, social injustice, mismanagement, and so on. And among them, an individual may be blamed for some cases such as negligence, addiction, violation, and all related factors that lead to a breach of law and therefore unemployment and its fruit, homelessness. When you mention some, let's say, some derivationals here, for example, homelessness, you will get a higher band score for those simple words. Do you think problems such as homeless are increasing in today's world? Indeed, nowadays, getting a house has turned into a dream for most of people. Low income, inflation, redundancy, and other tangible problems and the pandemic of COVID-19 have made the condition worse for people. They scarcely earn their living, and a lot of people have missed their jobs. So it's increasing a day by day. Okay, I want to mention something here, which is really important. When you cannot listen to the examiner well, do not say they use come again, sorry, excuse me. Try not to say these informal expressions. Try to use the most formal one. I beg your pardon. I beg you. Don't say your. I beg you. Pardon. Look, don't say pardon. No, pardon. And the syllabic na I beg your pardon, which means sorry, I could not listen to you well. Sorry, I could not hear you well. If you could not understand the question well, you may ask this question. Could you, don't say could you? Could you rephrase that, please? Don't say that, please. No, we have an assimilation here. That, please. Could you rephrase that, please? Could you? Could you rephrase that, please? That means explain your question in other words. Okay, now we come to the end of uh, our lecture for today. Wish you all that you got some benefit. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to write your questions here in the comments, or you may contact me on my Facebook account that is Haidar Al Qasir, Haidar ALCISSEER. You may also contact me on my mobile phone number 0780-843-8341. You may use also my Telegram account to contact me. And to tell you the truth, the best thing to contact me is the Telegram. Okay, wish you all the best. That was Mr. Haidar Casseer with you. Thank you very much and bye everyone.